If you're posting content every day and you still feel invisible, there's a reason for that. And it might not be what you think. There are a lot of people in our industry, the coaching and service providers, that are stuck in this cycle of constantly creating more content, constantly posting more. And to be honest, they are not really getting anywhere, at least not in terms of the results that they're hoping to achieve by doing so. But there's something that a lot of people aren't telling you, and it's that, to be honest, the platforms that you're using are designed to make your content disappear. So today I'm breaking down why that's happening and why you need to create lasting visibility instead, and how this will change the game when it comes to your business. Welcome to the Savvy Founder Podcast, where vision meets strategy. Get ready to unlock the power of mindset and entrepreneurship and demystify the art of systemizing your business for success. I'm your host, Janae Reed, an engineer turned master mindset coach and systems expert. Are you ready to transform your business and mindset? Then let's dive in and make your vision a reality right here on the Savvy Founder Podcast. And if you're wondering what this might look like, it could look like you're constantly posting, you're showing up every day, you're doing all of the things that you've been told to do, but it just doesn't seem like your content's getting much engagement after 24, 48 hours, and then it's all gone. You are recreating content from scratch every day. You are hoping to have aha moments and insights in order to know what to post, in order to kind of find that next thing. And this keeps you really busy, but it doesn't necessarily build momentum or grow your audience. I was one of those people that was very much in this cycle of consistently posting, but not really seeing results for it. For me, what it looked like was posting every day on Instagram, either a carousel or a reel. I had to make sure to stay active in my stories, make sure to give story content, but also, did you invite someone to join anything? Did I sell anything? Did I hint at anything to sell? And also, you can't forget to engage, right? It was all these things I was doing, and I was getting likes, I was getting saves, I was getting comments, and yeah, some clients here and there, but to be honest, my audience overall wasn't really growing. My email list felt stagnant. And it honestly just felt like I was creating content for the void. I don't know who was receiving it. I was putting it out there and it was just falling on deaf ears. And so you might be wondering, okay, but what's actually going on and why is it that the content is seemingly disappearing? And so if you're using platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, they're algorithmic based, which you've probably heard a lot of people talk about. Hey, how do you hack the algorithm? How do you go viral? And this is not at all a conversation about going viral or anything, but I'm just telling you this for context. And I know you've heard part of this, but just like really drawing it into what you're seeing in your everyday. Algorithm-based platforms really prioritize the freshness of your content, how recent it is. And so because of that, your content does have a shorter shelf life, literally just by design. Once the algorithm stops pushing it, it's done, right? And of course, there's always exceptions to this. Maybe someone, shares it, or for some reason it becomes viral way later, but that's definitely not the norm of what someone expects. And what's happening is that you're competing with millions of other posts every single day, a lot of which are actually just designed purely to entertain, which is a whole different topic of why do people actually get on Instagram. Typically, it's not because they want to learn something or because they want to make a buying decision. It's largely just so that they're entertained. And so there's also that aspect of us doing things that are actually kind of against the intent of what people are using it for, in addition to all the algorithm things. So the platform doesn't really care that much if it's really quality content. In fact, I would be willing to bet that you've probably had really quality content that you didn't see perform well, because it's a matter of like, is this new? Is this getting the responses that we're looking for? All of these things, right? And so this is why it's so easy to feel like, hey, I have to post every single day just to stay visible, just to be seen. And so this is why I think it's so important that you actually start creating lasting visibility, because when your content is always disappearing after 24 to 48 hours, that means that you're starting from zero every single day. That means that you're not actually able to build on top of what you already built. You're not building momentum. You're just staying busy. Your visibility is resetting every 48 hours instead of it actually being able to compound over time, which means that you're able to finally get more results from the effort you're putting in, right? And you can't really track what's working, because it kind of sometimes can seem like nothing's really sticking all around, like long enough to gather enough data, or maybe you did it once and then you tried it again, like something about it was off. And so this is something that I really realized, and it was in a really busy season of my life of, oh, I actually need to start focusing on lasting visibility, because I felt like I was in that place of always having to show up every day, which I didn't mind, but it was just the fact that the results weren't there. And I had to get really honest with myself of, if I'm going to, as a CEO, as a business owner, as a founder, choose to pour my energy into this, is this actually something that pays off? If I had, say, an employee that was doing this and I saw the results they were doing, would I honestly tell them, hey, keep going, right? And I think sometimes that just happens on autopilot, where we have these strategies that we've been using and we don't really think about, hey, is this something that is actually working for me, or have I just normalized doing it? And so what lasting visibility actually looks like means having your content that works in multiple places, and it works for longer periods of time, definitely longer than it takes for you to create it by far. I think that should be like the bare minimum. And there are platforms where content isn't designed to just quote unquote die off after the 24 to 48 hours. It lives on for weeks, months, even years. There are a lot of search-based platforms, and you can really take your pick of which one you would like to implement in your business. You have Google, Pinterest, YouTube, podcast. And when you combine these algorithm-based platforms with search-based platforms, your content actually can become an asset instead of just a post. I love taking content that I've posted on algorithm-based platforms and turning it into something that's search-based, or vice versa, taking something I made for search-based. So maybe I take this podcast and I repurpose that to TikTok, or I take a TikTok and I can repurpose that into other platforms that they can actually use by search. And that means that it lasts longer, because the people who are growing overall when it comes to their business, it's not just that they're posting more. In fact, I would be willing to bet that you have probably seen people say, I don't post more and look at where I am. And you've probably been like, yeah, but when I don't post, like, I don't see that. It's because they're building visibility systems. There's a strategy behind how they do it that is much deeper than just, did you post 3 to 5 times a day? Did you post on your stories today? And that is really the difference between posting and building. And so I want you to just take away from this conversation and kind of realize, what bucket have you been falling into? Have you just been posting, or have you honestly been building up visibility that is compounding over time? And the reason that this is such a game changer once you do this is because, like I said, your content lives longer. You're not starting from zero every day, which means that you're building momentum instead of just staying busy. And so your visibility is actually able to compound over time instead of resetting every 24 hours, or if you've ever had a business where it's like your income goes back to zero at the beginning of the month, it's kind of like that, right? Where it's, hey, it's nice to have that monthly recurring revenue, because then it's compounding. This is the same thing, but in terms of visibility. And you can actually start to grow or scale your business, because then your content is actually working for you even when you're not online. This is what I talk about a lot when I reference the hurricane story, of just how I really started to understand the power of this when I didn't have access to internet. But even with you having access to internet, your lives are busy. You have a lot going on, and sometimes there's unexpected things that come up that you need to handle. And so maybe you just didn't get around to posting, but guess what? Your visibility doesn't have to rely on that. Things can still keep moving and growing in your business, even though all that stuff is going on. And this is exactly what I teach in my program. So if this is resonating with you and you're ready to stop recreating content from scratch all the time, I have a program that will be opening up again soon called the Audience Growth Engine. But you can go ahead and join the waitlist to be the first to find out when it opens again, where I will actually be sharing my way of doing all of this. The link will be in the show notes. But until then, let's stop posting and start building. Stay savvy.